school's out, blame corona, but I still got some science I could show ya. No class, no school, that's cool, throw the class on the YouTube. Even if they shut the school down, I'll get that knowledge anyway somehow. Real scholars won't stop for corona. Tune in for that science takeover. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Mrs. Finney's science class. Shout out to our HB Warriors, to all of our subscribers, and to all of our visitors. Welcome to week 9 of online learning. From my house to your house, let's learn science. We are in lesson 9, and today we're getting into our last section. So this section is section 8. It's called modeling chromosome inheritance. How do we do such a thing? Learning objective: I can create and analyze models of chromosome inheritance for genes that have 2 alleles. All right. So before we get into this section, I want to take us to an image so we can see something related to what we talked about in the last section on Friday. All right. So predicting earwax texture with a Punnett square. This here says a Punnett square can be used to predict the probability that offspring of 2 specific parents will inherit certain alleles. Instead of drawing entire chromosomes, a Punnett square is a concise version of following allele inheritance. This Punnett square shows the probabilities of inheritance of the earwax texture trait. What kind of earwax do you have? Is it wet earwax or dry earwax? Let's get into our section 8, modeling chromosome inheritance. So it says trying to predict the inheritance of any more than 1 or 2 alleles of a gene can be very confusing. Very confusing. Different kinds of models can be used to help keep track. So figure 8 is a model of how each offspring inherits different chromosome combinations from their parents. This model focuses on 2 genes that are the instructions for the production of proteins that help to determine eye color or earwax texture. In this example, the mother has brown eyes and wet earwax, traits controlled primarily by genes found on chromosomes 15 and 16. The father has blue eyes and dry earwax because he has different alleles for these genes. All right, let's take a look here. Okay, so here we're not only looking at eye color, we're also looking at earwax texture. All right, brown eyes for mom, blue eyes for dad, wet earwax for mom, dry earwax for dad. What about the child? What did he get? Offspring 1, brown eyes, wet earwax. Offspring 2, blue eyes, dry earwax. So this image shows differences in the inheritance of their parents' alleles led to different traits in these children. The son inherited his mom's dominant allele for brown eyes and the dominant allele for wet earwax. These overshadow the recessive blue eye and dry earwax gene he got from his father. However, the daughter inherited recessive alleles from both parents and has blue eyes and dry earwax. This should give you an understanding of how siblings may not end up looking just alike, right? So we want to take a look here. It says the children have different traits from each other and each of their parents because of the different alleles they inherited. The son inherited his mom's dominant allele and his father's recessive allele of the eye color gene found on chromosome 15. So he has brown eyes. He also inherited 1 dominant allele of the earwax gene on chromosome 16 from his mother and 1 recessive allele from his father. So he has wet earwax. The daughter inherited recessive alleles of the eye color gene from both parents. She also inherited the recessive allele of the earwax gene from both parents. So she has blue eyes and dry earwax. Each of the different alleles were inherited randomly. Keep that in mind. Modeling only 2 genes is difficult enough. So imagine how difficult it is to model the inheritance of the 20,000 or so human genes that instruct for making proteins. If every one of those genes has multiple alleles, the potential for genetic diversity is huge. Because of the complexity, scientists use mathematical and computer models to predict how genes will be expressed in a population. Let's check for understanding here. What do we know? Select the appropriate term for each blank. We have 2. One way to model chromosome inheritance in a family is with blank, representing how each offspring inherits different chromosome combinations from their parents. The model can show that offspring have different traits from each other and each of their parents because of the different blanks they inherited. All right, let's take a look. Family is with, what do you think? I'm gonna go with drawings maybe. And because of the different what they inherited, which were chromosomes. Did they inherit statistics? Did they inherit drawings? Did they inherit alleles? Let's try this one. Let's see. We got it. Drawings and alleles for the win. All right, let's take a look here. How is it possible that a parent with blue eyes and wet earwax and another parent with brown eyes and dry earwax have a child that has blue eyes and dry earwax? We know this. Put it in your own words. Since children inherit a full set of chromosomes from each parent, and alleles for different traits occur on separate chromosomes, they can mix combinations of traits in new ways by inheriting different chromosomes with different dominant alleles. Let me enlarge this a little bit so you can copy this down in your notes. Number 1, right, here we go. Lesson 9, section 8, last section. Make sure you insert this in your TCI notebook. All right, number 2, why is it hard to model the inheritance of more than one gene? You saw how complex that figure was, right? It gets complicated, especially because most genes have more than 2 alleles, and we talked about that in the previous section. All right, here we go. How many human genes are there that instruct for protein construction? How many? Remember that number? About 20,000. See, you can give somebody a call today and be like, did you know? Drop that knowledge. How do scientists predict the inheritance of most genes in a population? How do they predict? Mathematical and computer modeling. Okay? All right. Make sure you jot this down. And we want to review our essential question. Make sure we have that down pat. How do scientists predict how genes will be passed on in a population? So since many genes have multiple alleles and the potential for genetic diversity is huge, scientists use what? Mathematical and computer models to predict how genes will be passed on in a population. All right. Going to close out for today. Strong start for this week. Yes. It's Monday. It's Monday. It's Monday. Great start to the week. Let's go. It's been fun. It's been real. We break it down and pick up science skills. Give yourself 2 claps just for tuning in. Come back, meet tomorrow. We can learn again. Oh, it's been fun. It's been real. We break it down and pick up science skills. Give yourself 2 claps just for tuning in. Come back, meet tomorrow. We can learn again. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow. Have an awesome rest of your day. Peace.